The Golden State Warriors are the favorites to come out of the West for the third year in a row, much like the Cleveland Cavaliers are for the East. But today I wanted to look at two teams that could end up upsetting the Warriors in this year's NBA playoffs. So right away you'll notice that I left the Spurs off this list because in my opinion, the Spurs beating the Warriors wouldn't be that big of an upset. Now even though the Warriors are the favorites to make it to the NBA Finals, I don't think that anybody would be overly shocked if the Spurs did end up beating the Warriors. So looking at the teams that I do think could end up upsetting the Warriors, the first team that we're going to look at is the Houston Rockets. Now the Houston Rockets have a very good offensive team with high scoring games, and they also have James Harden, MVP candidate, in my opinion MVP winner, leading the way. Now they have good defensive players, but their focus isn't really on defense. I think that Mike D'Antoni needs to adjust his offensive mind into a defensive mind, or at least take a little bit off of his offensive mind and put it on his defensive mind. I think that Beverly could lock down Curry or at least contain him. I think that Trevor Ariza could do a decent job on KD, and Clint Capella is a beast inside. I think that he could be a good defensive presence for the Rockets in the interior. Now James Harden is obviously a defensive liability, but I think that Mike D'Antoni has done a good job hiding him so far this season, and I think that he has improved his defense, so I don't think that this would be a huge issue. One thing that the Warriors don't have that the Rockets do have is a great bench. The Rockets have two of the leading six man of the year candidates in Eric Gordon and Lou Williams, and in my opinion they could make up for their lack of defensive focus with their bench, because let's be honest, the Warriors bench is nothing to be proud of, and the Rockets bench will probably end up exposing it if they do face each other. So despite good defensive players, there isn't a lack of focus on defense like I said, and I think that this will end up being the demise of the Houston Rockets. Now the second team that I wanted to look at, and the team that I think has a better chance of beating the Warriors or upsetting the Warriors, is the Utah Jazz. Now many of you may think that I'm crazy for this, saying that the Utah Jazz have a better chance of beating the Warriors than the Rockets, but hear me out. So I made a video last week about why I think that the Jazz are the most underrated team in the league, and one thing that the Jazz do have that the Rockets don't have that could match up against the Warriors is great defense. The Jazz are number 1 in opponent points per game and number 2 in opponent field goal percentage. So just great defensive numbers, and they have, in my opinion, this year's Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, who affects every single shot that comes at him. If he doesn't block it, then it's probably not going in when you come into the paint on Rudy Gobert. They also have, in my opinion, the most underrated star in Gordon Hayward. I call him the white LeBron because he can do a little bit of everything. He can score, he can play defense, he can pass. And the last thing that I think will give the Jazz the edge over the Warriors if they do end up getting to that point is their unselfishness. Most of these players are looking to win. Most of these players make the extra pass. Most of these players don't care about stats. And even though they do want to get their numbers, they do want to get their touches, they have the best interest of the team. A lot of people are saying that the Jazz lack playoff experience with many of their players, which is very true. They also acquired a lot of new players in this free agency, or last season's free agency, whatever. So their chemistry isn't as good as the Warriors or the Spurs or the Rockets even. Many people say that this will probably end up leading to an early exit of the Jazz, but in my opinion, if they can overcome this lack of playoff experience for their young players, and they can mesh together and become the unselfish team that they have shown that they can be all season, I think that the Jazz have a legit chance to beat the Warriors in this year's NBA playoffs. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave your thoughts below and like this video and subscribe for more sports content. I will see you in my next video. Thanks.